Visualize it. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 77 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and if there is one thing that puts me, let's say, not so much of a pleasant state, is not knowing what I will do next. The problem that I have is that I never tell myself clearly what I have to do next, but I try to keep it all in my mind. And this thing works when you have 1, 2, 3, maybe up to 5 tasks. But at some point, when you want to include the 6th, you have to remove one. And this process, if it, continues for 1, 2, 3, 5 days, at some point, you end up like I was yesterday, where I couldn't focus on more than 2 things at once. I had too many things to think of. And I didn't know what to do. Back when I was living with my parents, I used to have a whiteboard in my room. And even though I lied to myself that I would have used it every time and I would have tracked my tasks and all that, I didn't. I did for a period. I think that whiteboard had 3 revisions. But either way, besides the details, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to visualize my tasks. And when trying to come up with a strategy, let's say I've tried a bit of everything. I've tried journaling, the night before for the day after. What are the things that you want to do? And that again worked for a bit, but it became a bit too overwhelming for how I am. And I felt like I was kind of chasing myself. I was adding things to the list that were not really working. Then I was like, okay, let me do just basic planning. So based on time, I do this, I study. It was also during the period when I was doing university. So at this time I'm university. At this time I go to the gym. At this time I work for a certain project. And even that worked for a bit, but again, at some point it became overwhelming. And I never found a, let's say, proper, even though I liked, let's say, the physical aspect of it, and it forced me to go there and do it, I won't lie to myself. I spend a lot of time in front of the computer, both because I work with it, but also because I enjoy it. Any kind of media that I consume, be it YouTube mainly, Twitch, gaming, just searching up stuff, coding, personal projects, most of my entertainment comes from the computer. When I have time, and I'm a huge fan of it, I also like to do, let's say, activities, be it in the gym, tennis, paddle, but they unfortunately are not the majority of my time. So I think that even though the strategy that I told you before at the start was something that I could have worked, it wasn't the best. Last night, I was like, why don't I make something for myself? And I think it was Sunday, I had in mind like a generic idea where I was like, what if I could, let's say, do a kind of matrix? So the columns will represent when I have to do that thing. So now, in a day, in 5 days, in a week, in a month. And on the rows, I will put a ranking system. Or if you ever seen them, online it's full of them, a tier list. Tier S, A, B, C, D. And I thought, okay, the most natural place where I could do this is an Excel file, but I'd like to have it online. So I was like, okay, let's go with Google Sheets. And when I tried to do it, I was like, okay, since I've never used them, and you can go and reference the episode of yesterday, it's like, let me use, let's say, a bit of AI to create this the fastest way possible. So I've subscribed to the let's say, trial of Gemini, so the AI by Google, and I asked it to create something for me based on my description. It did something, but it was absolutely horrible. It is not able to create and make the table beautiful, or at least visually appealing. So I was like, okay, let me do it from scratch. And I will leave you here. I think it's the first time that I do this, but either here or here, but somewhere in the zone. If you're just listening, you'll have to switch to the video. But yeah, here. Okay, now it's enough. You'll see the stuff that I've created. And let's hope for the best. I'm, let's say, very attached to it because it's very personal, but at the same time, it's something that, I mean, it's generally usable. And I also like the fact that every time that I check one of the boxes that you saw, the task will be automatically saved into another separate sheet, and I will be able to have a backlog of all the things that I did. Something that I missed a lot in the whiteboard specifically, once you put the task, then you have to delete it. And to gain a bit of progress and to see, to track your performance, it's nice to have a list of all the things that you have done. So I hope that this thing will keep me pretty motivated. And in general, I generally feel much better because I know that now, anytime that I have something in my mind, I know what to do. Open my computer or even my phone and put down that specific task in the list, period. Then when you have the time and when you have to decide, okay, what do I do now? Start with S tier and then you go down from there. And I generally believe this could work for me. I struggle a lot with this thing because I am a serious procrastinator. And it's not in my best interest because even though, at the end I managed to solve the stuff that I have to do, it's still not optimal. You want to do things ahead of time and you want to build the habit of doing things when they should be done. The fact that you are able to do them in a non-optimal situation doesn't mean that it should be done like that. Those situations will forever exist in my life. Like, as much as I can try to improve myself and be better, it's me. I will always procrastinate stuff if I can. But as long as I'm able to reduce it to the minimum amount or to the things that I actually don't want to do, because there's also that part of life, it's more than okay. So I'll keep you posted, and let's see also, I will start adding now every day the task of doing the episode, because, it's something that will be always in the S tier, at least until episode 365. And I think I will add it only in the days where I have a lot to do, so that I can always keep a glance on it to say, okay, I need to do it. When I'm home like this after work, it's natural. So for me to do it, or in the morning, I don't struggle all that much. But in the days where I have to juggle between multiple things, I think it's a very good incentive to never forget, because it happened twice. Again, if you want to know when, go and listen to the old episodes. Having said that, I don't have much else to add. Go out and try yourself to build something to keep track of your activities and understand what you have in front of you, because I really believe that this uncertainty that we give ourselves, even if, on one side of the coin, it keeps you not stressed because you don't really know what you have to do. So you're like relaxed. You can have your mind go somewhere. But at some point when the problem is in front of you and you have to do something, knowing what you have to do and knowing what are the problems and making sure that you don't forget anything, it's really, really important. So I think that this kind of solution for me, it's best because I know the stuff is there, but I can also disconnect and say, whenever I'll come back, I know that they are there and I will never forget about anything. Having said that, this was episode 77 of the Shower Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know in the comments if you like it. And if you also, what are your options for tracking your activities? I'm very, very curious to hear more about it. And thank you very much for listening again. And see you at the next one.